In today's news, active COVID-19 cases in the BVI continue to be on the decline, with 191 recoveries reported on Wednesday.
Security and justice legislation at the top of government's agenda. Legislators expected to provide strong constitutional and professional base for the modernization for the police force.
And the National Democratic Party's plan for the redevelopment of the Amor High School was considered and assessed, but the plan was deemed inadequate and lacked resilience, says Education Minister.
From superhero to guardian angel, baby Logan Cruz to be laid to rest this Saturday in St. Croix USVI.
And viewers, Rosa Chapman of the Mathavious Institute joins us live here in the studio. We have that and more stories, viewers, after a word from our sponsors.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Welcome everybody. It's Thursday, January 20th, 2022. We want to wish you a terrific Thursday out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant.
And viewers, I'm Kamal Haynes, and we start today's newscast on the subject of COVID-19, where active positive COVID-19 cases in the British Virgin Islands continue to be on the decline after some 191 recoveries were registered on Wednesday, January 19th, to now bring the total active cases in the BVI to 861. But this is according to an epidemiological report from the Ministry of Health, which revealed that 153 new cases were also recorded on Wednesday. On the mainland of Tortola, there are 687 cases, Virgin Gorda 131, Anegada 40, Yos Van Dyke 2, and on vessels there's 1 active case. Well, the analysis of those cases also showed of the 861 cases, 27 were recorded on entry screening day 0, 18 on entry screening day 7, 17 on travel screening, 380 contacts of cases, and 419 local cases. But the report also showed a further decline in hospitalizations, which now stand at 4, and the total COVID-related deaths still remain at 47. Ultimately, Ron, just to touch on this quickly, it's still good news for the BVI, considering that we see this gradual decline, as we hope the cases get to that sub-100 mark very soon.
Absolutely. Continuing on the local scene, during the recently held speech from the throne, Governor of the Virgin Islands, His Excellency John Ranking CMG, stated that security and justice legislations are at the very top of the government's agenda. Ranking, who on January 18th, 2022, was delivering his very first speech from the throne since taking up the post of governor in the Virgin Islands, said, and I quote, "The introduction of the Police Act CAP 165 will bring together an updated legislative basis for policing in the territory and provide a very strong constitutional and professional base for a modernized police force." Now, these legislations, viewers, are expected to be a part of the pieces of legislation that form the government of the Virgin Islands agenda for the 4th session of the 4th House of Assembly. Now, these legislations are expected to significantly affect security and justice within the Virgin Islands, both of which have been a part of the Foy-led administration's plea to instill good governance, transparency, and accountability. Now, viewers, on the matter of serious crimes, which has plagued the Virgin Islands in the past few years, Rankin said this will be a vital means in supporting and combating serious crimes and the continued strengthening of public confidence in the criminal justice system. Additionally, assisting in ensuring the protection of witnesses and the preservation of their rights by providing a court to make a witness order to protect the safety of the witnesses, prevent property damage, and prevent real harm to the public interests. Now, viewers, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force in 2021 alone saw a record number of officers being indicted for a number of high-profile crimes, which have significantly affected not only the organization's ability to function and enforce law, but weakened public trust in law enforcement. The civil procedure rules will serve as a vital role in managing all criminal matters filed with the Supreme Court and is expected to improve upon the Criminal Procedure Code and provide a more detailed framework for the administration of justice. Kamal, as we look at the Virgin Islands when it comes to security and justice, these are paramount concern. Our residents continue to ask for a number of legislation that really govern the way we do things. And then when we look at the Policing Act, which is extremely important, and we mentioned, of course, within the last year, 2021, we saw a number of high-profile cases that really essentially threatened the strength of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. It questioned the public's trust. It weakened the institution, though they continue to do their very best to execute their duties under Chief Police Mark Collins. It definitely has affected them. I think moving forward with these legislations, we hope to see some change.
Indeed, hopefully these legislations also help to increase the policing and strengthening policing here in the BVI. Well, viewers, moving on, where the plans which were created for the redevelopment of the Amor High School under the National Democratic Party government has been labeled inadequate as it lacked the necessary resilience needed in the BVI post Hurricanes Irma and Maria. But this was the claim made by Deputy Premier and Minister for Education, Dr. Natalia Wheatley, during a virtual stakeholder meeting which was held on Wednesday, January 19th, for the redevelopment of the high school. Take a listen.
We had looked towards the redevelopment of the rest of the ESHS campus. I was advised by Ms. Lorna Stevens, who is the project officer in the Ministry of Education and the go-to person for all things of this nature, that the existing plans that were there for the redevelopment of the Elmer Stout High School were not adequate because, of course, they didn't properly consider the Hurricanes Amor, which destroyed most of the high school campus. And it was best to start with a clean slate.
Well, Dr. Wheatley said that his government did consider and assess the existing plans for the school, which were developed under the National Democratic Party administration. However, he said it was concluded that the plans were just not adequate enough for the work that needs to be done for the redevelopment of the institution.
Recently, persons have put information in the public to suggest that there were detailed plans concerning the redevelopment of the Elmer Stout High School. So I asked for those plans to be assessed again in light of the information that has come to light. And again, we have come to the same conclusion about those plans. There were one building as well as two prefabricated buildings in those plans. When I evaluated the prefabricated buildings and we considered what Hurricanes Irma and Maria did to us here in the Virgin Islands, we decided not to go with those prefabricated buildings because, of course, we know what the hurricanes would do to them. So those were not appropriate to be considered.
Well, the Deputy Premier also spoke on the design of the auditorium building, which was circulated across social media recently, which depicted a sculpture basically with lots of glass windows. Well, he said the design of the building was not well suited for the plan envisioned by his government, which is to build a school that is resilient against future natural disasters.
We also have another building, and this is the only building that had detailed schematics being submitted to town and country planning. This building was for auditorium and a cafeteria. I must say to you that we are not at the phase of the project right now where we are considering an auditorium and a cafeteria. That's not the focus of these buildings that we're building right now. And in addition to that, anyone who would remember those designs which were shared publicly revealed a building with quite a bit of what they call glazing. And to the lay person, they would understand glazing to mean there's quite a lot of glass. The auditorium and cafeteria contained quite a lot of glass. And it was our assessment that it would not have been the best option to go forward with designs full of glass, considering what took place with Hurricanes Irma and Maria.
Well, viewers, the minister's comment comes after opposition leader Marlon Penn recently expressed that he believes that the Andrew Foy administration is wasting taxpayers' money by opting to start from scratch and not utilizing the NDP's plan for the school. But Penn said that the NDP's redevelopment plan for the school was a sound plan which previously went through a thorough process, adding it was even approved and funded by the Caribbean Development Bank. Ron, obviously we spoke about this yesterday,
yes,
and we would have seen the Deputy Premier ultimately responding during that big meeting that was held for the stakeholders yesterday. It's basically addressing that, you know, whereas it was alleged that the ultimate plans of the NDP wasn't even viewed or assessed. Basically, the Deputy Premier is basically stating that those rumors are false. You know, what we did, we went through a process where we analyzed the information, the data that was there before, and ultimately it didn't come up to scratch with what we had envisioned for the school.
Well, we do thank the Honorable Minister for Education for shedding light on his take as it pertains to how the choices came about essentially in choosing to essentially start from scratch as it pertains to the redevelopment and redesign, particularly of the Amor High School. Viewers, coming up next, we have a superhero to Guardian, Angel, baby Logan Cruz, who we've talked about many times, will be laid to rest this Saturday in St. Croix, and we have so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new season of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. It doesn't always involve suits and, bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. This season, I'm taking you on an entirely different journey, from chefs to dancers, philanthropists, communications specialists, and much more. I'm heading outside in the field to share the journey of some of the BVI's best and brightest men. From East End to West End, Bojangara, Jackson Lake, not forgetting Anigata. Our Virgin Islands gentlemen are doing the damn thing, and I'm so proud. Get ready to reason, reflect, and redirect. We are the movers and shakers of this generation, and we ain't afraid to show it. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 3 by yours truly, Ron Grant, raising a generation of greatness.
Welcome back, viewers. Well, Barbados Prime Minister Mayor Amor Mottley, for the second time in the history of Barbados elections, completed a 30-0 clean sweep at the polls, making her the first Prime Minister to complete consecutive clean sweeps in Barbados. Prime Minister Mottley called the election some 18 months earlier than the constitutional deadline, a decision which ultimately worked in her favor, as her Barbados Labour Party has now become the second political organization in the Caribbean to win all seats in an election on consecutive occasions. Well, viewers, take a listen of her victory speech.
In the next 10 to 15 years, required that we give the people of this nation the option of choosing who it wanted to lead it into that process. We stand today on the morning of the 20th of January, confident that the people of this nation have spoken with one voice, decisively, unanimously, and clearly. We want each and every one of us to thank the people of Barbados for the confidence that they continue to repose in us to be able to lead this country first to safety and then to prosperity. The last 2 years have not been easy, and it has been a fact of record that we have spent more time in our previous term under the threat of the COVID pandemic 24 months as opposed to the 19 months that we initially had. We are conscious as a political institution that there is still much to be done and that there is a road still to be traveled and that there are things that you as Barbadians are legitimately expecting of us.
Well, viewers, in defending her decision to call the elections early, Mottley used the cricket metaphor, stating that it was important for her to take fresh guard as Barbados continue to deal with socio and economic situations in the world.
It is our solemn commitment that there are many things that must now be on the front burner. And that is why we came to you earlier. We could have stayed on for another 18 months and drawn salary and done just enough to keep us going. But we understood that it would not be enough to keep this country safe or to build the platform for prosperity. So we took the risk and we came to you, the people. And in spite of all of the noise, a little tired this morning. In spite of all of the side talk, I am so proud of each and every one of the members of this team who displayed a discipline, who displayed the finest example of Barbadian behavior, and who stayed focused on what matters to you. Because as we go forward, we fight battles that go beyond our nation.
Well, viewers, a total of 108 candidates representing 7 political parties and 9 independents contested that 2022 election.
Quite historic events over there in Barbados. Now, viewers, we pan across to St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands on Monday, January 17th, 2022. Baby Logan Cruz arrived via an American airline jet back home to his final resting place of St. Croix USVI at the Henry E. Ralston Airport. Now, his final arrival has been termed a hero's welcome. He was honored as the American Airlines jet that brought him home received a water salute. Additionally, his hero welcome included first responders from a number of government arms, including the VI Police Department, emergency medical technicians, and the VI Fire Service. Now, Logan Cruz, popularly known as Baby Logan, a 2-year-old toddler and Virgin Islanders superhero, became internationally known for his incomprehensible resilience and strength during a long battle with acute leukemia. In a Facebook post, mother of Logan Cruz, Anais Cruz, shared, and I quote, "My baby is home. Today was amazing. Thanks to everyone that made today happen. Logan strong." Now, viewers, this Saturday, January 22nd, 2022, a funeral service open to the general public will be held at the City of Refuge Worship Center in Baran Spot, beginning at 10 a.m. The colors for the homegoing service are royal blue and orange. Logan and his family have received an immense outpouring of love and support, not only from Virgin Islanders within the community, both in USVI and BVI, but across the USA. He is remembered as a fighter and a ray of sunshine that brought hope to all who followed his remarkable story. Viewers, up next, we are joined by Ms Rosa Chapman of the Robert Mathavious Institute. She is the principal tutor for the financial services courses. They have some amazing stuff going on right there, and she's going to touch and talk to us all about it. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
the man. I've been looking for this for weeks.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
Viewers, welcome back and thank you so much for sticking with us. As promised, we are joined by Ms Rosa Chapman of the Robert Mathavious Institute. She is a principal tutor for the financial services sector courses. She is also a published author, to which we're going to get into. Ms Chapman, thank you so much for your time this evening and welcome to 284 News.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here.
Before we get into the Robert Mathavious Institute and the remarkable work that you guys are doing, I have to ask you about your work that was published in 2018, a practical guide. Tell us about that.
Okay, so I was approached by a publishing house in London, Cogan Page, and they asked me would I please write a book on anti-money laundering, and it's a practical guide to reducing organisational risk in licensees, basically, in regulated entities. So I spent about a year writing this work with lots of case studies. Very interesting work, anti-money laundering, and it was published in May 2018. There are some of the copies of the book here in Nook at the moment.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on that piece of work. And speaking of anti-money laundering, we have some really remarkable courses that are taking place within the Robert Mathavious Institute. But before we get into those courses, I just have to ask you, what is the Robert Mathavious Institute?
Yes, the Robert Mathavious Institute is actually an institute that's been around in the BVI for 20 years nearly. Yes, 20 years. So it was the Financial Services Institute, yes, and it was established in 2002 as part of the HLSCC. So we're still at HLSCC, and Robert Mathavious was instrumental in creating the FSI. At his recent retirement, it was announced that we'll be renaming the institute the Robert Mathavious Institute in his honour, which I think is a rather marvellous thing to keep his legacy going.
It is indeed commendable, and we do congratulate Mr. Mathavious on his amazing work. Single-handedly, I think, really putting into perspective financial services and really charting the way forward for generations. What exactly does the Robert Mathavious Institute do and provide?
So the Robert Mathavious Institute provides professional training for financial services and for businesses. So the idea is to have professionally qualified people trained in the BVI to carry out the regulated and the more senior roles in financial services and in general business within the BVI. It's an enabling facility for education for professionals.
Well, you talked about having highly skilled persons within the industry. How important is it, Ms. Chapman, for us to have competent persons working in the field of anti-money laundering and holistically financial services?
Yes, that's a very good question, and thank you for asking that one. So it's really essential to have well-qualified people to carry out anti-money laundering and regulatory compliance roles in any jurisdiction, but especially here in the BVI, where we know we have challenges with drug running, etc. And we need to make sure that organised crime does not flourish here, does not have the opportunity to flourish here. Now, it's all right having importing people to come and work here from other jurisdictions where they are already trained and competent. But I agree with the Honourable Vincent Wheatley, and he said in an interview actually only earlier this week, that we, the BVI, cannot import all the labour and have locals sitting at home. Absolutely, I would agree with that totally. But what we have to do to enable that is to have local people qualified to international standards, so that when the licensees here want to have a senior in anti-money laundering or in regulatory compliance, they know that they are qualified and therefore competent and have the skills that will satisfy international regulation and satisfy the regulator here, the FSC, as well, of course.
Wonderful. What exactly is your role, Ms. Chapman, as the principal tutor of the Financial Services Institute and these courses?
So my role is to write and deliver course material, should I say. The courses that I have, the more senior courses, are from the International Compliance Association. They are advanced certificates in anti-money laundering and regulatory compliance, and diplomas, which is at the level of a third year of an honours degree, bachelor degree with honours. And they are diplomas in anti-money laundering and governance, risk and compliance. So those are the roles, those are the more senior courses that I actually carry out. I'm tutor for those courses, and therefore I ensure that the students actually get information during the courses to assist them in carrying out the requirements of the course and getting good marks in their assignments.
As principal tutor, how difficult would you say some of these exams are? Are they feasible enough to perhaps entry-level persons? What is the rating of the exams and the difficulty?
So the exams, excuse me, the exams are really quite, they're very academically rigorous, and this is a very good thing. Now, if you're a newcomer into financial services, I teach an introduction to financial services compliance, which is a course that's been developed at the Robert Mathavious Institute in years gone by. It's updated and it runs today. So that's an introductory course. And then the advanced certificates, they are more senior courses, and they will actually enable you to take roles with regulatory responsibility here in the BVI. There's several presentations, there's a whole course of presentations that covers every aspect of the assignments that students have to write, and they are delivered. Actually, delivery by blended learning is our wonderful new thing since COVID.
Yes. Well, wonderful. Ms. Chapman, I want to thank you so much for your time and, of course, shedding light, but we have so much more to get into. We're going to have you back to really discuss and get into the courses, what's the lineup, of course, what persons should know who are interested in the courses, but I want to take this time to thank you and, of course, commend the Robert Mathavious Institute for really taking the time out. Anti-money laundering is, of course, of paramount importance when we look at the financial services industry, and we're going to make sure that we have you back later on next week to really cover holistically the full approach. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Kamal, the Robert Mathavious Institute continues to do amazing things. When you look at the legacy of Dr. Robert Mathavious and what that legacy looks like, I think it's of paramount importance that the Institute continues to serve the public. And like Ms. Chapman said, raising a generation of competent financial services institute professionals is at top of the list.
Indeed, and as you touched on that point from the Labour Minister, basically
yes.
having locals in these positions, locals in these institutions, so that at the end of the day, they're qualified and they're first choice when it comes to those vacancies.
Absolutely, viewers, that is all the time we have. We thank you so much for tuning in. We are 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news here in Tortola, Virgin Islands. We want to wish you a happy Thursday, a terrific Thursday. We will, of course, see you tomorrow. Your source for honest and impartial news. I'm Ron Grant.
And viewers, I'm Kamal Haynes. Have a great Thursday evening.
Bye-bye.